March 23rd, 2:35 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. What happened in the rest of that recess? Oh, God.
Court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you also seem so distraught, Mr. Edgeworth?
That is, it's nothing, Your Honor. What's wrong with Edgeworth? It looks like something unexpected just happened to him.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Miss Impax's suicide note.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we've discovered that this suicide note is a forgery. Actually, what?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This note was not written by Miss Impax herself. It is a fake.
Order! 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 Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what is going on? If this was not written by Miss Impax, then who wrote it?
We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida. Mr. Corrida? Well, well. It looks like Miss Impax...
Moist Nani, this is too intense.
Moist
I can't
Nani!
take
The
so much
1,000 fans
suspense.
theoretical! Damn it, dude! That is nuts! Thank you so much, man! Dude, I'm in the suspense zone too. I feel you, man. It looks like Miss Impax never left a suicide note at all. She never wrote anything about On Guard. However, Your Honor, even though this suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. On Guard could not have known that. And so the facts remain unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had plotted to possess it.
That does sound very plausible.
This theory that On Guard had no idea the suicide note was fake. Something seems a little wrong with it. Something wrong with it. I don't know, man. I'm backing down. It's no use. Something feels wrong, but I can't put my finger on what it is.
Actually, there is something I would like to ask. Mr. Edgeworth, you had stated something earlier to the effect of the defendant had spied on Mr. Corrida's private life. I believe this would mean that he would have known about the note as well?
That's it. Yes, and so naturally, this means Mr. On Guard would have to have known that the note was a fake.
Order! Order! See here, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
I was the one who thought of the spying thing. Jumping in and stealing my thunder like that is simply... well, I can't even describe it.
Oh, sorry.
I could have even bragged about embarrassing Mr. Edgeworth to my grandchildren had you not. For that I assign you a penalty, Mr. Wright.
Wow, that's so garbage. What? If only I'd kept my mouth shut.
So then, the defendant knew this suicide note was a fake. And if that's true, the situation suddenly changed in a very dramatic way.
Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. On Guard's motive for murder was has suddenly disappeared into thin air. But, Your Honor, it's not as if Mr. On Guard monitored Mr. Corrida 24 hours a day. Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. On Guard didn't know of. Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us some proof Why don't you show us some proof that the victim made the forgery at an unknown place? Ugh!
Order! Order, I say! Mr. Edgeworth, it looks like this time it is you who has dug his own grave.
As I figured.
Huh? As you figured?
As I figured, it came down to this after all.
Mr. Edgeworth, you are not making any sense.
When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? What next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. On Guard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle.
Well, I agree with you there.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time.
Oh? Well, that's fine.
However, this witness is a little unusual. Edgeworth stuttering? It's not like him at all.
Unusual? Well, what sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth?
The witness is one who is perfectly fit to answer once and for all, the question of who was it that hired Shelley D. Killer to commit murder? That's impossible. No such person exists that can answer such questions with certainty.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth, who is this witness?
It's,
Yes, go on, who is it?
the man himself. Mr. Shelley D. Killer?
Oh, Mr. D. Killer? Wait! Shelley D. Killer? No.
No way.
You mean the killer? I mean the assassin?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's coming here to the witness stand?
Well, yes, in a manner of speaking. I recognize that this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission.
Well, Mr. Wright,
Yes?
is this all right with you?
Do I have a choice here? I can't really do much else to drag this trial out. The defense has no objections, Your Honor.
I wonder if it really is all right to do this.
Very well, then. The prosecution calls our witness to the stand. Is there no other way no other way left to us? Now then, witness. Your name and your occupation.
Very good, sir. My name is Shelley D. Killer, and I am a professional assassin.
I say, what is going on here?
Your Honor,
How can you remain so calm? And what is the meaning of this two-way radio?
actually, Your Honor, it was delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. D. Killer will testify to the court. So this must be what that urgent phone call he got was about.
Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court. First of all, we can't even be sure this is really Mr. D. Killer himself.
Witness, please present some sort of proof you are in fact Shelley D. Killer.
I understand. Please wait a second. I'm so hungry. Yeah.
Maya!
A voice? Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this?
The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelley D. Killer.
It looks like we have run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under the circumstances, so...
Now then, witness, there's one thing I would like to confirm before we speak of anything else.
And what would that be?
At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Carita. Is that correct?
It is as you say. I did indeed kill Mr. Carita.
Now that we have that answered, let's move on to the name of your client.
Very well.
It's just all a bad dream, yeah. That's it, a bad dream.
Shelley D. Killer, what is he going to say?
There is something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish that you grasp this concept before I give you the name of my client.
Mr. D. Killer seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say he seems to be mocking us.
Well, he may appear to be our enemy, Your Honor. Mr. D. Killer is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by this one belief.
You mean about this trust between his client and himself thing? It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend. Well, Mr. Wright, are you ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. There's no way to know what's coming next. Stay cool and collected, Phoenix. Okay.
There's something I must first state.
I don't need to press this. We can hear anything you have to say later. Can you please just tell us your clients?
I don't think you understand your place, Mr. Attorney. I said there is something I must first state. Do you know what the word first means?
Sorry, go on.
Well, it appears that this is one witness you can't badger, Mr. Wright.
That's only because you don't know about Maya's situation.
To an assassin, nothing is more important between the trust of his client and himself.
The trust between you and your client.
I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner. In exchange, I trust that my clients are discreet about me and my identity. If too many people knew my face, it would be quite troublesome.
And that's why you're testifying in this manner?
This is my first time one of my clients has ever been accused of murder. I must preserve the D-Killer name so my clients can trust me.
He just said one of my clients have been accused of murder. He just gave himself away right there. But couldn't someone stab you in the back and break your trust?
It has never happened before, but if it ever did,
Yes?
that person wouldn't be my client for very long. They would certainly...
That's enough. Please, no more.
Very well. It was only hypothetical anyway. And that is the reason I'm here today on the witness stand.
That seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think that this would be very bad for you.
It doesn't matter to me. This client has already broken the rules and acted outside of their prescribed role.
Their role?
This person tried to implicate another of the crime in order to save themselves. And this is a trespass that cannot be forgiven.
You. Who gave you the right to be so high and mighty?
To the gentleman who spoke just now, excuse me, but would you care to die?
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
The judge had better watch himself.
It is my wish that you grasp that concept before I give you the name of my client.
We understand, so please tell us the name of your client.
I'm afraid I cannot do that. I still have a few things to say before I do.
Ugh. This
Go
egomaniac.
die to kill her.
Yo, thanks for the bits, dude. Appreciate it. That egomaniacal.
It's not good for your health to be so aggravated. You won't live very long if you let everything bother you.
Somehow that coming from an assassin makes it less than comforting. I don't really care about the extra fluff. Just tell us the name already. Patience. Try to calm down a little. It's important to try and understand his mindset. He seems very steadfast and closed, so you're gonna have to work to get him to talk. I'm not his therapist, you know.
Something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important between the trust of a client and himself, and that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish you grasp this concept before I give you the name of my client.
What? I'm so confused. How do I get him to talk? The trust between you and your client.
I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner, and in exchange, I trust that my clients are discreet about me and my identity. These are the roles and duties of an assassin and his client are to carry out.
Sorry, but I was wondering about something you just said. You said that your client had already broken the rules.
A person who frames another is the worst kind of human.
And that's why you feel you can betray this person?
I have no trust relation with a client who can't understand their assigned role.
Just my luck. An assassin with a conscience. Who would have figured?
Now then, everyone, do you think you can understand my logic?
This case just keeps getting better and better.
If you can't, then I'm afraid we can't proceed.
Everyone understands your point, I think. Really.
In that case, I believe I am prepared to disclose the information you seek.
You've made it crystal clear that you value trust over all else. I believe we are ready.
Excellent. And that is the reason I am here today on the witness stand. Now then, I do believe it's time I revealed the name of my client. Don't you agree?
Yes, I would like that. He's gonna accuse Adrian Andrew, for sure.
What is it?
Now I can't bring myself to ask the client's name. If you can't ask it, Mr. Wright, then I will. Witness! What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Corrida?
That person's name. That person's name is Adrian Andrews.
What? Nani?
witness! That's not who you told me it was earlier.
Pray tell, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I should think I know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews.
Nani? This can't be. On the phone earlier. What's going on here? My guess is that Mr. D. Killer just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back. Stabbed Edgeworth in the back. I'm sure in order to get an audience with this court, Mr. D. Killer told him a different name. Matt on guard, perhaps? I knew it. This is outrageous! I was deceived! This witness is telling a very serious lie.
But you were the one who summoned the witness.
Ugh! You, Shelly D. Killer.
My testimony is the truth. The defendant, at the moment, is Mr. Ungard, am I correct? All I wish to do is help procure his acquittal.
Wow. All of a sudden, it feels like we can actually win this. Yeah.
The prosecution has failed to provide a motive and has instead provided the suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there is a possibility the defendant himself knew it was a fake. But most definitive of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. Mr. D. Killer's client who requested the murder was not the defendant at all.
No.
With all this evidence, it is obvious to me that this means that Mr. Matt Ungard is innocent.
It seems I have caused you all a severe bit of confusion. Please, continue your discussion and call me when you have reached a verdict.
Bailiff, please bring Miss Adrian Andrews to the stand immediately.
What now? With the way this is going, Ungard will be found innocent. This may be our last chance to save Maya. Yeah, but Edgeworth is right. D. Killer is lying, and Ungard, my client, I know he's guilty. Can I live with myself if I win this?
Who would have believed that the prosecution's own witness would have absolved the defendant?
Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelly D. Killer is certainly lying under oath. It wasn't me. Listen, everyone, please. That testimony just now. It was all one big lie. Miss Andrews, the suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he's the reason Celeste died. And Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me. It was a horrible, horrible lie.
But Mr. D. Killer himself has testified. He named you as his client.
No, that's not true.
Also, there is quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and the button, donning the nickel samurai costume.
But that's...
You even have a motive. We know that Miss Celeste Impax was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her, and you wanted revenge against the two who hurt her. I would say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead.
No. Mr. Wright! You know the truth. Tell them. Tell them the real story, who the real killer is. Tell them. Please help me. Yes. I know the truth.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe we have reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defense for any final words or opinions.
I have to decide. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya? Or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do? I can't do it, dude. I don't have it in me. I can't request the verdict. If I do that, the game is over. I sentence this poor woman to death. Well, not to death, but to jail. I let Matt Ungard, a man who hired an assassin, go free, and I have no guarantees I'll even save Maya. Request the trial continue. Phoenix. I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept a not guilty. You are a lawyer. I know, but Matt Ungard is a killer, a murderer, and I can't let him get away with this. I can't let someone else take the fall. If I let Miss Andrews be convicted, then I am no better than Ungard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it's because of Mr. Edgeworth that I now know the real truth. He could have gotten Ungard convicted so many times over, but he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust. His trust? I never thought about it until now. I trust him? Yes. Do.
Mr. Wright, your opinion, please.
The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. D. Killer.
Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright?
Right.
But, the witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done.
I'm not done yet. To see through this witness's lies and find the truth, that's my job, Your Honor. There's still more evidence to look at. And I'm sure that once those pieces arrived here in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur.
Very well. The trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please reestablish connection with Mr. D. Killer.
Right away, Your Honor.
Has a verdict been reached?
Before that, we would like to talk with you a little bit more.
About? All you needed from me was the name of my client. What else could you need me for?
Well, actually, we would like to hear everything you know about this case. That is how things are usually done. What is he talking about? Usually done?
What shall we have him testify about now?
Mr. D. Killer, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail.
You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court?
About my client, Part 2.
As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime. While pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene, Adrian Andrews already knew that from the very beginning Juan Carrito was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. The act is what I was referring to when I said the client had broken the rules.
This is a most unexpected turn of events. For the 5th time now. However, this time everything has finally been revealed.
Just a second, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
We still have the cross-examination to do.
But you don't need to question testimony like this, do you, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, the defense will question the witness. If I have a choice here...
Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony, then
I'll expose the lies. In that oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose.
I don't understand what's going on anymore.
That makes 2 of us. Testimony. Let's go. Cross-examination.
As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However...
What is it?
What is it, Mr. Wright?
If I press him the wrong way, I might raise suspicion on his end, but I have to do something to waste more time. Witness, about requesting a hit.
Yes?
How much is your fee?
I see you are also quite a dark-hearted man, Mr. Attorney.
Huh?
If you would like to talk business, we can do so after the trial.
Oh, no, I'm not thinking of high...
Mr. Wright!
Yes?
You want to kill me? You want me dead, don't you?
Nani? Why would you think something like that? You're wrong.
Guilty! Mr. Phoenix Wright, you are hereby declared guilty!
Witness. Let's continue. Why did you disclose the name of your client? They are your client, are they not?
One thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime.
I would think that most people wouldn't be able to overlook a person hiring another to kill.
If I had a problem with such a thing, I wouldn't be very effective at my job.
Yeah, I guess. Changing occupation might be good for you.
However, I will say this. Even though I am the one that does the deed, my clients are always the real guilty party.
That goes without saying, Mr. D. Killer.
And their fate is to live with the knowledge of their guilt on their shoulders. However, my client this time thought that they could run away from their guilt. My client did it to frame another for the crime.
Are you talking about the button and the knife?
Yes, my business card.
Oh, this card.
So that no one has to waste their time, including the police. I always make it a point to make things as easy as possible.
You try to make things easy?
My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service.
He's pretty devoted to his work.
But to disregard everything and to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook.
Really hard to tell if he's being truthful or not with him not being here.
While pretending to be the first person to discover the body and entering the scene.
So you're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing?
That is correct. Usually, most people try to create an alibi for themselves first. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I would suggest you plan for your alibi too.
No, I already told you I have no intention of ever using your services. Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial here?
Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Carrito was dead.
From the very beginning?
That is correct. From before my client visited the room, all of my clients know precisely what the situation is at all times.
I wonder if that is really true. That's odd.
But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button.
So why do you think your client did that?
What do you mean, why?
Well, fiddling around at the scene of the crime is pretty risky. And why would someone who had requested a murder go to the crime scene anyway?
That is true.
I assume
it was probably done to frame Mr. Ungard.
If that's the case, then why didn't the person just request that of you?
Sadly, that is not possible.
Huh?
My job is to kill. That is all. And I leave my business card behind naturally. The business card is so my clients may escape blame. To protect them is my duty. Even if they say it's for revenge, setting someone else up to take your fall. That is the act what I was referring to when I said the client had broken my rules.
And that's all you have to testify?
Yes, and I pray that I will never be called to the stand again.
Again? Then you plan to continue?
I must, as I have yet to find a person to take my place and become the fourth successor. Actually, how would you like a new life, Mr. Attorney?
Excuse me? No, I'm fine, really.
Are you really now?
I wonder what kind of man the judge thinks I am now. What are you going to do now, Phoenix? All I can do now is expose the lies. That's true. However, you realize that will be very bad for our client, right? So confused, but the one thing I know for sure is I can't let this trial end yet. Alright, we gotta present evidence somewhere now because we didn't unlock any more testimony. As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime while pretending to be the first person to discover the body at the scene of the crime. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Carrito was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. The act is what I was referring to when I said the client had broken the rules. Okay, we need to call him on his bullshit somewhere in here. Let's take a look at our evidence. What do we have? What do we have as evidence right now? None of this seems too helpful. The Nickel Samurai, that's not going to be helpful, I think. The press conference ticket, maybe. This walkie-talkie that we used to talk to D-Killer, probably not. The tabloid article in the camera, doubtful. The regular tabloid article, maybe. It shows that, I don't know, it shows that the two were at least connected, but I guess it doesn't show that they were friends. The guitar case, water on the top, bears Carrita's fingerprints. And the wine glass with Andrew's fingerprints. The crime photo Okay, hold on a second, though. If the wine glass has Andrew's fingerprints, you would think that if Andrews was... if Andrews hired D. Killer and then had followed up to go to the scene of the crime... Yeah, if she followed up to go to the scene of the crime to, take care of business, she wouldn't have left a glass filled with tomato juice with her fingerprints on it there. That would make no sense. She would just be implicating herself, and if she already knew of the murder, the shock reason she gave in her testimony yesterday in trial wouldn't make any sense. And plus, everything is knocked over, and the top of the guitar case was wet. So, the guitar had to be opened after the struggle, after the water was knocked over. She claims to have knocked it over, but it could have happened during the fight between D. Killer and her. I think the wine glass is our best bet right now. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Carita was dead, but if she did, she wouldn't have left her fingerprints at the scene of the crime. Think about it. She was smart enough not to leave her fingerprints on the knife. She would be smart enough not to leave her fingerprints on the wine glass if she knew about it ahead of time. Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. D. Killer.
What is the meaning of that attitude?
When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, your client had no idea that Juan Carita had been murdered.
But how do you know that?
From this wine glass, Your Honor.
The glass?
Mr. D. Killer's supposed client thought Mr. Carita had only fainted, which is why this glass of tomato juice was poured for the victim.
But isn't that just part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan?
That is not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they would never have left their fingerprints behind.
I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion?
Strangely enough, I had the same exact thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon?
Isn't it a waste of time to talk about such a minor detail? It's not a very important point anyway, correct?
I'm afraid you're mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client, as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Carita's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Andrews was never your client at all.
How strange.
Yes?
Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection at this absurd situation?
Phoenix, if D. Killers figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. I know. Mr. Edgeworth! I'm surprised. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Ah, sorry.
That sounded like an awfully weak objection to me.
Anyways, I am positive there was a contradiction in that testimony. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken.
Very well.
Right now, I have to buy us more time. While we wait for the items D. Killer left behind to get here. I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items.
This request came to me, I'd say about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the award ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory and I believe I have made no mistakes.
So you physically met your client, huh?
That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion.
See. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
This request came to me, about a week ago.
1 week ago, are you sure?
Yes, I am quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparation. And I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you will keep that in mind.
Please stop.
In any case, my client this time had a very specific date and time in mind.
A specific date and time?
It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony.
Did you ask why on that specific night?
No. I tried to fulfill all the conditions of my client's request, but as for why, I only had my suspicions.
Your suspicions, huh? Press further. So what are these suspicions you had? Why did your client take the request that night?
I'm sure it was all for the bear.
The bear?
My client spoke of it. I'm sure there will be a bear-shaped figurine in Juan Carita's room. I would like you to retrieve that item for me.
You must be talking about the bear puzzle. Inside of that figurine was a suicide note. Naturally, the victim brought it with him to the hotel room. He was planning to publicly disclose its contents at the press conference after all.
That is correct. And if I had not done the job that night, I would not have known where the bear figurine was.
See.
Well, Mr. Wright, was that testimony just now of any importance?
I'm gonna say probably not. Yeah. What D Killer said sounds plausible, but in the end, it's just his conjecture. No, Your Honor. I think it's not very important.
Ah, well then. Witness, please continue.
We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters.
So you physically met Adrian Andrew, right?
Of course I did.
What was that? What was that brief pause? Press further. Witness, I would like for you to give us a few more details.
I always meet my clients at a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail.
And why is that?
That's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. And the only way to establish that is to speak with the client while looking them in the eye.
Well, Mr. Wright, was that testimony just now of any importance?
Was this one of any importance? I don't think this. I'm gonna just keep going with no. Why he meets his clients is not important, and that wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my questions.
What do you mean by that?
My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person?
I have already told you, Mr. Wright, that I did. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. That's when I thought, I can trust this person as a client.
Dude just said him twice.
It's true what they say about talking face to face. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance?
Oh, it was very important. If I heard what I think I heard just now, then I think I have got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was of the utmost importance.
Huh? Really?
If that's the case, witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony.
Very well. From the moment I saw him, I thought, I can trust this person as a client.
You saw him, right? Oh, look, we got Shelly D. Killer as a separate entry in the profiles now. I didn't notice that. I would like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's when you thought he was trustworthy?
How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry, but that is an impossible tale.
What? Nani?
Shelly D. Killer. You have never met the real Adrian Andrews.
What? Why would you say that?
Because you made one very big slip up here. About her.
So what is the issue? Wait, what did you just say? About her?
If you had ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you that she's a woman. Wow, Phoenix. Assuming genders? Not cool.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this?
This witness testified to the following. That he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their request.
But he has never met Adrian Andrews in person?
Yes, Your Honor. That is exactly the point. That means Mr. D. Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews.
Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake?
I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor.
Her name?
Yes, Adrian Andrews is, without a doubt, a very androgynous name.
Yes, I see.
Unluckily for Mr. D. Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Andrews' gender. And so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with.
What's going on? Shelley D. Killer, this court demands an explanation.
I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another.
So does that mean you remember something different now?
Yes, of course. Please, if you would allow me to testify once more.
No, he's just going to spit out more lies.
Very well, but this time please give us the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, now I remember. I took the request by mail. There have been many times where I took jobs without having met my client. The request was for the murder of Juan Carita and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man.
Well, no way. He just said trust is important to him.
So you took the job through a letter.
He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he is definitely lying. Careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, then it's over for us. I know. I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. We can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me. No matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it.
Now then, let's begin the cross-examination.
Yes, now I remember. I took the request by mail.
I'm gonna be careful about my pressing. I think I don't want to press on things that look like that he's lying too hard. I want to find something small to hook onto. There have been
times where I took a job without having met my client. The request was for the murder of Juan Carita and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought of my client to be a man.
Okay. So, obvious lie. Obvious lie. Juan Carita, murder of Juan Carita and 2 to 3 other small things. I can ask you about the 2 to 3 other small things. That can drag this out. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man. That seems truthful, actually. If he did just see the name. We're going here. 2 or 3 other things?
Yes.
And what were these other things?
A few other things that have nothing to do with this case.
What should I do? Should I let him slide with that? It'd be really bad if I push his buttons the wrong way and he gets mad. No, I gotta push further. Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide.
Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
Everything I have said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client, which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue with this cross-examination. Could it be that you are planning to betray your own client?
That's...
I smell the stench of a backstabber, and should you turn out to be one...
What? Wait! Uh-oh. This is looking really bad. I shouldn't press my luck. Alright. I have to think. Is this worth pursuing? If I keep pressing... if I keep pressing... Listen, everybody makes mistakes sometimes. Sometimes you gotta, okay? Sometimes you gotta go and do the dirty work. Sometimes you need to. We're trying it, let's go. Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what these other jobs your client requested were.
It's truly that important, then I suppose I don't have much of a choice. That bear figurine.
The bear figurine?
After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine, and I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing.
And where was that figurine?
It was inside Mr. Carita's suitcase.
And then, what did you do next?
I handed it over to my client right away.
You gave it to your client? Interesting.
This information certainly sounds important to me. Witness, please include what you just said in your testimony.
As you wish. Okay.
Okay, I'm pretty glad that worked out, because I was really scared there. One of these was to find the bear figurine and give it to Adrian Andrews. But here's what's weird about that. Only Karita and Andrews know how to open the bear figurine, and Adrian Andrews already had a connection with Juan Karita. She could already have like worked on getting that back, but and if she knew it was in the doll, she would have no reason to order a hit, because if she knew the suicide note was there, she would have obviously just gotten it herself. She gave him the figurine, right? And Adrian Andrews went into the room to try and frame. So wouldn't she put pinning the murder on Matt on guard as part of a request? Let's press this. I found this figurine at Mr. Ungard's mansion. If you gave it to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there?
I was waiting for her there. That was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Ungard, I'm sure.
That does make a lot of sense. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any problems with this piece of testimony?
Yeah, I do. So D Killer says he gave the figurine to Miss Andrews, but I know somewhere in that statement there's a contradiction. And yet, I know that if I present something trivial here, he'll cut the connection on his end. If you want to make a strong point, Phoenix, you have to present strong evidence. She's right. So now what, Dr. Wright? What evidence am I presenting here if I go with it? He's claiming that that Adrian Andrews requested the bear and that he delivered it to her in Matt Ungard's room. And that is believable because of the whole costume mix-up right now. But if they were truly spying on, like I was saying earlier, if they were truly spying on Mr. Karita and he knew where the bear was, Adrian already had a connection with him and could have gotten it herself. And she's the only one. Wait a minute. Yeah, we got something. Think about this. Adrian Andrews claimed multiple times that she wanted the suicide note specifically to burn it. She wanted to burn it and get rid of it as soon as possible. So, if the figurine had existed, she wouldn't leave it as evidence at Mr. Ungard's house. She would take the suicide note out and maybe leave the figurine, but there's absolutely no way she would not burn the figurine if he really gave it to her. So the figurine being found from Ungard's mansion, I think, is our piece here. Witness, let's go over this one more time. You gave Miss Andrews the bear figurine, and she told you to take the bear and wait for her at Ungard's mansion. Is that correct?
Yes. Where are you going with this?
Well, I think maybe you might have remembered a few things incorrectly.
What?
It's a battle of wits. I can't let up on him. I don't think it's possible for Miss Andrews to have been the recipient of the bear. What? I'm gonna present the suicide note, I guess. Shelly D. Killer. If you had really given the bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside.
This item?
I see where you're going with this. Yup, and that's where I'm going.
Where is everyone going? Do I need to pack up?
Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony.
And I was going to burn it, for her sake.
If even for a single minute, this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands, I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it.
Order in my courtroom! So that's where you two were going.
So by the very fact that this suicide note was still inside the bear, that tells us your client didn't know how to disassemble the puzzle.
What?
Which means...
It means, Your Honor, that it is impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client.
Oh!
The radio broke.
Order! Order!
Ugh, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
We're in trouble now.
I'm sure I mentioned this before. How I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement.
No, that's not...
That is enough. If that is your intention, then there is only one thing for me to do.
Wait, please.
Gentlemen, ladies, please. Excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to.
No! No, please! Not that. Please. Please wait.
Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end, and I might stay my hand. Otherwise...
Ah!
What in the... Mr. Wright, are you... Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor?
I didn't understand this witness as an outburst just now. Do you think there is a need to hear more testimony, or... this enough?
Well, we should... Edgeworth, we can't do this! If we keep this up, Maya, she's going to... Ugh! The prosecution...
What has come over everyone? Even you are...
The prosecution... rests.
What's going on around here?
The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor.
Nani? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I am reluctant, I must believe that Mr. D. Killer's testimony is accurate. And that would mean that Shelley D. Killer's client is Adrian Andrews. Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
If I end the trial here right now, then your client, Matt Ungard, would be declared innocent. And in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder.
Miss Andrews would be charged with murder.
The prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant, Matt Ungard, to the stand.
The items from D. Killer's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but looks like our time has run out. I can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands, Phoenix. God. Dude, did the old guy finally decide?
To be honest, I can't think of you as truly innocent and a good person. You have done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear that you are innocent.
So, I guess even the old funny duddy figured me out.
Mr. Ungard?
You were atrocious as a lawyer, weren't you? Giving your client away like this. And that refreshing like a spring breeze crap? It's just as atrocious, don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with justice? Or should I save Maya's life? You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? If I did that, Maya, you're gonna die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. It all hinges on what I choose.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Matt Ungard, is innocent.
There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer is going to say what I want. Aren't you? Right? I can't do this. But I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. My client, Matt Ungard. Oh. We're saving state. We're saving state. We're saving state, guys. We're saving state. I don't want him to get off. He's guilty.
We are waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Ungard, your client deserves an answer.
Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Ungard is... Yes! Yes! Franziska von Karma?
What are you doing here? Ugh!
You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off Scruffy old fool.
Did you bring them? The final pieces? Do you have them?
You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. If Von Karma is perfect in every way, the evidence is in perfect condition. Do not worry about Scruffy, he's fine and his injuries are minor. All of the items are inside these.
What a filthy old coat this is.
That's Gumshoes. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere.
I apologize for ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap item in.
I fought long and hard this whole trial, all for what's inside of that raggedy coat. I'm sure that what's inside that coat is a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence. Your
final pieces of evidence? This trial is already over. All that remains is for me to hand down my verdict. I do not believe that any evidence presented now would change the outcome of the trial.
What? Nani? Your Honor, it is our duty to examine every piece of evidence down to the last. I request that Miss Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence.
I suppose you are right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so, but however, there is one obvious rule that applies here. If these items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted to this court. Now, Miss Von Karma, if you please.
These pieces of evidence are left by D. Killer during escape from police.
He must have been in quite a rush.
Yes, Your Honor. The killer left 3 pieces of evidence.
Somewhere among this evidence we're about to see, there will be something that'll turn this whole situation around. Like a miracle. I'm sure of it. This is all we can hope for.
The first item
is pistol.
Does D. Killer's pistol have anything to do with this case? Does it? I mean, obviously I'm gonna want more details. Does the pistol have any relation to this case?
We have yet to perform ballistic tests, so I cannot say anything for certain. However, I believe it has something to do with case. At least to me.
That's the pistol he used to shoot you, isn't it?
That is what I believe, yes.
Oh.
I keep bullet they removed from shoulder as sort of memento. I'm sure it will be excellent sample for test.
So that's the pistol that was used to shoot Franziska. It's probably not going to help us very much.
The second piece of evidence is this videotape.
I bet D. Killer took that from Ungard's mansion. Have you checked the contents of that tape?
Unfortunately, there was no time.
Oh, yeah?
But I would speculate that tape is very important.
Why would you say that?
Because he came back to his hideout for it.
D. Killer went back for it?
This is right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers on site. But somehow, it looks like they managed to protect it from D. Killer. Surely D. Killer is no ordinary man. The last piece of evidence is this bellboy uniform.
Is that uniform from the Gatewater Hotel? Was that used during the crime?
I am almost certain it was. There is even a pair of black leather gloves in one of the pockets.
There's no doubt about it. D. Killer was wearing this on the night of the murder.
There's one thing I found interesting about the uniform.
And what is that?
There is a button missing on this uniform.
A button?
It's a very unique button. I'm sure if we were to recover it, it would provide us with interesting clues.
Bellboy's uniform with a missing button added to the record.
That is all I have to present, Your Honor.
Just as I thought.
And what is that, Your Honor?
I'm sure were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelley D. Killer's hideout would be very important clues. However, our question is not who did the killing.
It is who is the client.
Yes, that is correct. And these 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now.
Wait, Your Honor. Please allow me to examine the new evidence.
Overruled. This court already has all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict.
Wonderful. Absolutely splendid. This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he? Is this the end? Phoenix, I knew it. There's no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there? I think you're wrong. I think they do exist. But you have to make that miracle happen. You have come this far. You can't give up now. But no matter how you think about it, it's... Try. For my sake. Just think about it for a second. There are 2 ways out of this situation for us. 2? The first... Make Ungard wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict. Huh? D. Killer was always a place of... D. Killer will always place his client's wishes first. If Ungard himself wishes to be convicted, then he will let his hostage go. That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible. The second way... Force D. Killer to end his contract with Ungard. If D. Killer were to no longer think of Ungard as his client, then he would let Maya go. Mia, that's even more impossible! He's a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else. I know both of these seem like they're impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one of these happen, it would truly be a miracle. The bigger problem is, the judge has already said that he doesn't need any more evidence. The pieces he was just shown, he's not accepting them. Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what has always worked for us? The other side? Wait, does she mean to turn things around? Phoenix, the judge says he doesn't need the evidence. If that's the case, who does need it? The person who needs the evidence. The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We've all seen the pieces of evidence, and that is how we've come to know the truth. There are people who have not seen them all, and those people do not know the truth. That truth, it may be what will be able to bring about this miracle in the end.
There are no objections this time, correct? Now then, I will pronounce my verdict.
Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen, kids? No way!
I've already told you, Mr. Wright. This court does not need any more evidence.
I am not saying it is us that needs the evidence, Your Honor.
Then, do you want to show the evidence to that person?
Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I will grant you one chance.
One chance?
Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person.
Oh. That's impossible. To turn the situation around in one try,
One try. That's all I will permit.
I have to try to remember. Everything that has happened up to this point. Think, Phoenix. Think. There must be a way to save Maya while taking on guard down at the same time.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show the evidence to?
Okay, let's... Process of elimination. It's definitely... I don't think it's anyone on this page, because it's not any of the lawyers, or Gumshoe, or Pearl, or Maya. Well, no, it can't be Maya. We can't get communication with Maya. It's not Lotta. She's not relevant at this point. It's not the dead guy, and it's not Will. Matt on guard has been here the whole time. It's not him. Definitely not Oldbag. Adrian's also here. Celeste is dead. That leaves either John Doe, the butler, or Shelly D. Killer, the murderer. Now, our new evidence that we have that he's the only one who doesn't know that we have this evidence. And Shelly D. Killer went back to the scene of the crime and injured 3 officers to try and get back this videotape. One of the items retrieved, Dr. Killer or D. Killer violently tried to recover it. If he knows about this videotape, maybe whatever's on it will be the key to getting him to end this contract. Let's save, though. Let's save just to be safe. Shelly D. Killer needs to see the videotape. I think that's it.
I see. And now, tell this court what one piece of evidence you would like to show this person. Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think there's some merit in showing this evidence to the witness.
Bailiff, please bring the transceiver in from earlier.
Oh, right. It looks like they got a hold of him. Maya. She's okay, right?
Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with the bringing about of a speedy end to this trial? Now, if I understand correctly, you wish to show me one piece of evidence?
Yes. One is all I need. I have here a videotape. It was found at your hideout. I heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back.
That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape.
I thought so.
I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard.
Do you know the contents of this tape?
I was sternly told by my client not to watch it, so I have absolutely no idea.
Actually, you are on this tape.
Me?
There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded.
What? What?
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
Who was that? Who was it that planted a camera?
Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally.
That was Adrian Andrews?
Be quiet and listen, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Your client specified a place and a time for you, isn't that right?
Yes.
That was so they could film you.
I had no idea. Mr. Wright, why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why.
Why did Matt on guard film the crime scene? The reason why he did that is my ticket out of this whole mess. There's only one reason your client would secretly film the crime scene. They wanted to see Juan get his. They didn't trust your skills. They wanted to blackmail you. They definitely wanted blackmail. Dude, with how much of a piece of shit Matt on guard is, he wanted blackmail. Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you, and this is what they said. But I'm no weakling. I don't believe in anyone, least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yeah, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. That's right, he even said it yesterday. Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say about that, Shelly D. Killer?
Oh, things are getting interesting. It looks like I was being deceived from the very beginning.
Yes, by a natural. That's the kind of person they are. Your client is a person who only thinks and plots of how to use the people around them to protect themselves from any and all dangers that may arise. That is the true nature of your client. I have one question for the witness.
Yes.
You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said that you detest traitors most of all.
Yes. That's right.
But what if that traitor was your own client? What would you do then?
That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then, that client would become my next target. For the honor of the D-Killer name, even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to exact my punishment.
I see. That's all I wanted to know. So the traitor becomes D-Killer's next target. Oh, I get it. This is how we'll turn this case around.
Mr. Wright,
Yes?
my contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return to you your precious item. What the? I'm not an item. Beep.
Maya. Thought I'd never see you again. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
The trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I don't get it. What happened there with the client and the witness and... Miss Von Karma, where did that...
She always has you in her sights. Now, I do believe it's time to finally hand down a verdict. Oh, he's sweating. Mr. Unguard, it looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You will finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy. But before that, I would like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I mean if you watch this video. Help me. Now then, Your Honor, the verdict if you please.
This all right with you, Mr. Wright?
We have finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells. Right, Chief. Plead guilty is the way. Right? I just don't want to screw over Andrews. Matt Unguard. Even though I am a lawyer, cannot make your crime disappear. I think a guilty verdict is appropriate here. Me? My wonderful self guilty? Even if you got an acquittal, the instant you set foot outside the detention center, your life would be in danger. No matter which way you look at it. You can't run away from your crime anymore. No! Just tore up his own face, dude.
As always, it looks like we have uncovered the real truth.
I don't remember you helping out much in this.
Mr. Edgeworth, how is Matt Unguard?
I've left Miss Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he'll be getting a full-course meal of whip leather right about now.
Very good. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness?
Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. This trial was the first time I had stood on the witness stand. And when I did, I really felt hopeless. She must be talking about the time Edgeworth really went after her. I guess she's trying to forgive him for what he did. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself and who I am. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I had been saved. Wow. It's the first time I've ever seen her smile. I'm really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. It's the first time I've felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone. It looks like we have resolved everything at last. Judge voice.
As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about, but everyone seems to be in good spirits, and well, that's good enough for me. That is all. Court is adjourned.
You were great out there, Phoenix. What I did out there was right, wasn't it? This is the first time you've not gotten your client off. You got them a guilty verdict this time, but you have to look past all of that to what's really important. You now realize there's something more than just getting a not guilty, right? Yeah, I understand now. Phoenix, think back for a second. Think to the moments before Miss Von Karma arrived with that final pieces of evidence. Think about the incredible decision you had to make.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear that defense final statement on the matter.
Can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. Should I side with justice? Or should I save Maya's life? My client, Matt Ungard. Is he guilty or is he not guilty? Those were your choices then, and your answer? Your answer spoke to what being a lawyer means to you. Right! Huh, Edgeworth? I have good news. Maya is now safe in police custody. Really? Pearls, you're telling the truth, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes. She's quite safe. She is on her way here as we speak in a patrol car. Mystic Maya's safe! You did it! You really did it, Mr. Nick! She punches deceptively hard for a kid. I believed in you. I kept saying to myself, Mr. Nick will save her. He's gonna save her. Oh, thanks. Oh, what's wrong? Miss Von Karma. About earlier. Thanks.
Ow! Why are you still smiling, Mr. Phoenix Wright? You lost! Your perfect win record has now been crushed, and yet you are still happy?
I don't think you'll ever understand, Miss Von Karma.
How dare you?
Don't worry. She may in time. After all, I was like that myself until a year ago. Edgeworth. For my own personal victories, and for guilty verdicts. I used every dirty trick in the book, and so my win record remained spotless, but a man appeared and stood fast against that selfish me. I fought him in my usual manner and tasted my first defeat. I felt like I had lost everything because of that. And then, it was my turn to sit in the defendant's chair. And I was saved by that person I called my enemy. I couldn't forgive myself for all that had happened, so I left the prosecutor's office. And I left that note. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death.
As well you should have. A prosecutor who has shamed himself with defeat should crawl into a hole and die.
But that was not what happened. After I left the prosecutor's office, I finally came to realize something, and it was in that moment of clarity that everything began to change.
What foolish nonsense!
We prosecutors use anything we can to attack the defendant, but every time we did so, no matter how desperate the situation, instead of giving up like most people, that man would hold strong with his undying faith. Then before I knew it, I began to trust in that man as well.
Nani? You trust your enemy?
It doesn't matter how many underhanded tricks a person uses, the truth will always find a way to make itself known. The only thing we can do is fight with the knowledge we hold and everything we have. Erasing the paradoxes one by one, it's never easy. We claw and scratch for every inch, but we will always eventually reach that one single truth. This I promise you. The truth. Yes. That's the reason why prosecutors and defense lawyers exist, but I'm sure you knew that already, didn't you, right? That's why you couldn't forgive me. This man who went into hiding. Isn't that right? This man who only had his sights set on victory, who ran away into the night. Is Mr. Edgeworth right, Nick? Really let me down. When you disappeared, I felt betrayed. The reason I decided to become a lawyer to begin with was because I believed in the things you said to me all those years ago. And you betrayed your own words. That's why 1 year ago, I made up my mind. I decided that the Miles Edgeworth I knew had died. At least that's what I told myself.
You pathetic fool!
Miss Von Karma?
I do not want to hear such wretched whimpering of a disgraced loser. A Von Karma is someone who is destined to be perfect. Miles Edgeworth, you are no longer worthy. You are no longer worthy of being a Von Karma, and neither am I. It's over. It's all over.
Franziska threw something on the ground just now. This is an electromagnetic receiver. Isn't that the thing she used to track Detective Gumshoe down? I'll return this to the precinct later. There's something else. Isn't that Miss Von Karma's whip? I'll never set foot in another courtroom again. I'm sure that's what she's saying by this action. You should keep this, right? Okay. Nick! Maya! Mystic Maya's back! Oh, Nick, I knew you would come through. You got on guard convicted like I knew you would. And on top of that, you even rescued me. Well, of course I did. You know I would never desert you. We sure pressed our luck this trial. You're really lucky to be standing here. Whatever. Look, it's over, okay? Besides, if I did croak, I would have just come back and haunted you like a bad ghost through Pearly. Is it really that easy to do something like that? Thanks a lot, Nick. Don't mention it. Maya. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm relieved you're all right. Hey, it looks like you've made some real progress, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I suppose I'm a little different from who I was a year ago. All right. I think it's time we got out of this depressing place. Huh? Where are we going? Food, Nick, food! Grub, chow, I'm starved. I'm so hungry even you look like a nice juicy burger on a bun to me, Nick. Think I look like a burger? I'm a prime rib at least. Come with us, Mr. Edgeworth, please. If you insist. All right, so how about we hit up our usual burger joint? Don't be silly, Nick. Huh? This case messed up that awesome evening and got in the way of my gourmet food, so I've decided that we're going to make it up by having a feast. Another feast? Come on, Nick, food! Food! We're back at the Gatewater, huh? Hey, pal. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Gumshoe! Are you alright? Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed. I didn't think I'd hit a telephone pole all things. A telephone pole? Then it wasn't a red light that got him? Y'all did it again, city boy. I felt like my dear old heart was gonna give out on me, and I ain't joking. Yeah, it was more exciting than the very last episode of The Steel Samurai. Thanks. Now looky here, Mr. Snooty Prosecutor. Don't you reckon you bullied Mr. Wright a little too hard? You don't start being a lot nicer to him, he might just kick it. Tonight even. I'll keep that in mind. Well, come on now. Everyone gather on around. Y'all gonna get your picture taken by a genuine professional photographer. Looks like Lotta bought herself a new camera. Well, pal, at least we can put this messy case behind us now. Come on, tonight's all about eating. So let's go chow down, pal. Amen to that, pal. Amen. You know, when you think about it, you were the ones who saved the day, detective. Huh, me? You really think so? He's right. If it wasn't for the 3 items you took, I think this trial would have had a very different ending. Well, you know, it's... Oh, wait. That's odd. When I ran off with the things from D. Killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things total, sir. What? 4? Yeah, I'm sure I put one of the items in my coat pocket. There was a 4th item? Aw, come on, y'all, it's over. But, ooh boy, I tell you, you really are something else. Between getting accused of murder and keep getting kidnapped, never a dull moment with y'all, huh? You think? Why does she look so happy about that? But being shut away for 2 whole days, weren't you scared? Yeah, it was really scary. I felt so hopeless. So to keep my mind off things, I drew a picture. Sounds like you had it rough, gal. So where's this picture of yours? Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see Mystic Maya's picture. You know, I don't know where it went. That's too bad. Well, it's alright. It wasn't anything important anyway. It sure is nice to finally see them both smiling again. Phone ringing. Is it his phone? Check the court record. I don't have the coat in my court record. I can't do anything with it. What is it, Edgeworth? This thing is picking something up. Oh, that's Miss Von Karma's receiver. Thanks to her, I had the most awful experience of my life, sir. I can't believe she stuck a tracking device on me. That's odd. Even though you're standing right here, the tracking device seems to be in a different location. Oh, it's probably busted or something, sir. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm afraid it's about time for me to excuse myself. I still have some work to do. Huh? But Mr. Edgeworth, you haven't even eaten anything yet. And you've eaten way too much, you glutton. I had fun tonight. Now if you'll excuse me. Wait. What? I just want to say thanks, Edgeworth. You really saved me out there. If anyone should be saying thanks, it should be me, right? I feel like words alone aren't enough here. I wonder if there's anything I can give him to express how I feel. What's this? Thank you. It's all thanks to you two. You and her. You don't need to thank me. I was only doing my job. It looks like Mr. Edgeworth has left, Mr. Nick. Hey, Mystic Maya. Yes, Pearly? I guess you two can go back to being lovey-dovey now, right? You and Mr. Nick, I mean. Pearl, would you cut it out already? You're embarrassing me. Anyway, so who's paying for this lovely dinner party? As if you need to ask, everyone say thank you, Nick. Huh? Yeah, I'm kinda at the point where I can't even buy instant noodles, pal, so I kinda already put your name on the bill. Wait, what? Yeah, I got me a situation just like that myself. There's this camera shop in a hotel, see? And I just bought myself this good old beauty right here. It better be anyhow for $3,000. Wait, what? Actually, I reckon you bought it for me since it's on your tab and all. Huh? Isn't this great, Mr. Nick? Yeah, Nick. Why do I suddenly feel like screaming? Aw, you don't need to hold back, you hear? Yeah, pal. Time to let it all out. This is gonna be the first time I hear the real you. Go on. It's been a while since I heard you say it. I've been busy being a hostage and all. Alright then. If you say so. Again? Objection! There we go. GG, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, justice for all completed. Really came through for me, Nick. Had to hide that letter, but I knew you'd find it. Really feel like I've been living on the edge lately. I mean, I've escaped death 3 times now. Pretty cool, huh? I kind of feel like a pro. I'm so happy that you could save Mystic Maya, Mr. Nick. And I'm so happy for the 2 of you. Speaking of, I think this hotel is popular for honeymoons. So I sort of made reservations for the 2 of you, just in case. Yo, my God, Ryan Dimmick with 1,000 biddies, dude. Thank you so heckin' much, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you, dude. Well, pal, looks like I'm back on the force again. Mr. Edgeworth had a long talk with the chief, and he got me reinstated for my sake. I heard he said things like, shoot. I knew it. Crashing headlong into everything is the only way to live, pal. Oh, it's her from the first case. I, Maggie Bride, am retiring this uniform as of today, sir. I am going to be a waitress from now on. And bringing smiles and joy to people who come by the restaurant, sir. Hope you'll stop by sometime, Mr. Wright. Bird, not bride, sorry. Yeah, are you here to visit a patient? Oh, I'm Director Hottie. Oh, recently, that girl, I haven't seen her around. Oh, yeah. But I remember, even if I laid so much as an eye on her, it would go, oh my God. Yo, Angel went with the 100 bits too. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. It didn't matter if I got whipped, though. Oh, she was a spicy one. Oh, yeah. It's time to begin our quest of world circus domination. And to let the world know we are serious, I plan to make a fabulous something. Hey, Max, what do you think Zimbabwe is like? Do you think there are castles made of cake? And bunnies who can talk? I think if there are talking bunnies, even they wouldn't laugh at Bo's jokes. Just a heads up, I muted alerts. I want to be able to use this for the end of the series on YouTube, so I don't want alerts on for now. I'll unmute them in a minute, don't worry. I'm ready. There's no way these jokes aren't gonna fall on deaf ears. I'm gonna be more contemporary with my humor. Mo Curls represent. Yeah, we got a new act all worked out. Prepare for the Hallelujah Circus. Say something, will yas? You're supposed to start this off. Get on with it. Music/sound effect. More credits. Yeah. Credits. What's this? Drat, it's just an ordinary electric razor recharging on the stand. I can't believe this, really. How long do they plan on making me do this? Ah, but it's Edgy Poo's idea, so it means it must have something to do with the case. But why do I get the feeling that they wouldn't forget about me, would they? Ah, it was never like this in the old days. They used to call me Queen Wendy and treat me like royalty. Oh, they're gonna feel the burn now. Playing with fire is very dangerous. So on and so forth. Old bag's a trip. I appreciate everything you and Mr. Edgeworth did for me, from the bottom of my heart. Oh, that's right, and I received a letter from Miss Von Karma. She said that after I get out, I should feel free to consult her about anything. I'm really thankful to have met everyone.
It has become difficult for me in this country as of late. As such, I will take a short leave of absence. If you would like to request my services, please be sure to visit my homepage. May we both be blessed with longevity.
March 23rd, 9:42 p.m. International departures. Gate 12. Who's leaving? Where are you going, Franziska?
How did you know I was here?
With this. I heard you were planting things on a certain person. Things like tracking devices on his coat, for example.
That is just like... I only planted there because he always wearing this filthy drab coat. I don't know how it ended up in my luggage, but it's going in the trash, I can promise you that.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of that man, he told me something very interesting. When I ran off with the things from the D-Killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things total, sir.
4 items?
It seems he put the last one in his coat pocket.
Put it in here? It doesn't matter anymore. This case already over.
What are you going to do now?
That is none of your business.
Are you running away?
Shut up! You don't understand a thing. You can't possibly understand what it means to be Manfred von Karma's daughter.
Franziska.
So many expectations from everybody around me. Expectation I must fulfill. I'm expected to win no matter what. And failure? Such a thing is not an option for me. My father was genius. No doubt about that, but me, I'm no genius. I have always known that. But I had to be one. I had to be.
You may not be a genius like your father, but you are a prosecutor. You have been, always will be.
No, I'm not. Not anymore. I have thrown my whip away.
Speaking of that, Wright gave me this to hold on to. Right. You knew something like this would happen, didn't you? I'm going to say this again. We prosecutors do not fight for personal honor or pride. I hope you will think deeply about what you should be striking down with that whip.
You haven't changed a bit. You've always left me alone and walked ahead without me. Miles Edgeworth, I've always hated. And then, finally, my chance to take my revenge on you arrived. If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix Wright bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. That was supposed to be my revenge.
See.
You know, I can't do it. I cannot change who I am. I cannot throw everything away until and everything I've been until today.
I believe you can. It's like how Adrian Andrews did.
Adrian Andrews?
You were going to use her during the trial, right? But you were dependent on your father by using tactics. That right. Today, you chased after me after I had left you behind all those years. And that's why we're standing here now, side by side. But I have no intention of stopping. And if you say you are going to quit your walk down the prosecutor's path, then this is where we part ways, Franziska von Karma. It's crying.
I am Franziska von Karma. Do not think I'm going to walk in your shadow forever. Our battle begins now, so you'd better prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth.
Phoenix Wright. One day, I'm sure we'll meet again in battle. Until then, this last piece of evidence that never made it to you, I'll take good care of this fourth piece so I can give it to you when at last we meet again. Not crying, you're crying. My eyes aren't teary, your eyes.